A shakeup in the Malloy administration. Next. And welcome to the Stan Simpson Show, a program about Connecticut people and compelling issues. Make it a point to drop in every week. It's been a busy 10 months for Dan Malloy. A historic storm, massive power outages, new businesses coming to Connecticut. But he'll end the year with a major shakeup on his staff. His chief of staff, deputy chief, and also his communications director are all leaving. Is Malloy's workaholic management style a recipe for burnout? We'll talk about it with Hartford Courant Capitol Bureau Chief Chris Keating and Christine Stuart from CTNewsJunkie.com. In our second segment, we'll talk about Republican presidential frontrunner Herman Cain and whether he can shake off troubling allegations of sexual harassment 12 years ago. Then we'll wrap things up with a quick preview of the UConn men and women hoops team. Scott Gray from WTICAM, he stops in for a chat. But first, everyone is chatting about Dan Malloy. And a couple things going on now. Major shakeup here coming on the end of the year. The CLMP issue. Christine Stuart, Chris Keating. Let's talk about the shakeup. All right, this is a big deal. You have a chief of staff. You have a deputy chief of staff. You have a communications director, all saying they're gone at the end of the year. What's the backstory here?
Well, I'm not quite sure that there is a backstory.
Coincidence?
With the chief of staff,
Tim Bannon.
He was supposed to announce that his departure on Friday, and then the storm was about to hit, so he delayed the announcement of the departure. And Tim had come into the administration, and I don't believe that he was expected to stay longer than a period of a year.
10 months, though, Keating? You got that cynical look on your face. 10 months, and he leaves with his deputy, too?
These are very, very difficult times. Tim Bannon has been working 7 days a week since last Thanksgiving, not this Thanksgiving. I talked to him last year before Thanksgiving, and he called it 7 full days, not a half day on Sunday or whatever, 7 full days. This was back in the transition.
Right.
And it has been a very long year. There's been a lot of things going on with the Malloy administration. We're in the middle of the power crisis right now. There's always something going on in any gubernatorial administration, and basically no matter who you are, it's a very tough job, and chief of staff is probably the toughest job of all.
Well, the whispers are saying this, that Dan Malloy is too hard charging and he's burning his staff out. Tim Bannon, his deputy Alvin Wilson, communications director Colleen Flanagan, that a guy is too hard charging and his staff can't take it, and there may be consequences long term. Thoughts on that? You guys cover him. How much of a workaholic is this guy?
No, I mean, I definitely, and I've said before to you that, he is somebody who's on the go all the time.
You said he wants to be president one day. He has ambitions for higher office. You said that very clear.
He's very ambitious. So he's constantly on the go, and I think that, he gives the media a run for their money, and he's on his game. He's on his toes. So if you're going to be part of his staff, though, you've got to be ready for that. And I think that, there were the 3 people who have left, were ready for that. I think they expected that.
These are key roles, though. Talk about Bannon, first of all, chief of staff. Give me a quick take. You guys worked with him. What do you bring to the table in your short dealing with him?
Oh, Bannon was tremendous background, had been the state tax commissioner, had been the speechwriter to Governor O'Neill. Bannon is an amazing background both in the private sector and the public sector. He's 64 years old. He went to Yale. He's basically the template for one of the Doonesbury characters, or at least he was mentioned in Doonesbury. He's personal friends with the creator of Doonesbury.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Personal friends from all the way back in Yale.
They were roommates.
On the humor magazine, But anyway, so Bannon has been around forever and is a very well-known guy. But the bottom line is, yes, Malloy is a 7-day-a-week guy.
Right.
If you look over his schedule and see what he's done, he's working on Labor Day. He's working constantly, and he enjoys it.
How about this quote from Bannon? Bannon had a quote here that was very telling. I had a copy here, but Mike, pop it up on the screen. The quote from Bannon when he was asked about Malloy's workaholic nature. He said this.
Yes,
we have it, Mike? Gonna read that thing. You know what? I can't.
He said he didn't wear me out. We never worked more than 7 days a week, and never worked more than. And on not one of those days have I ever worked more than 24 hours.
There's a little dig. Sending my glasses, Keating. Thank you for that bailout. You're the reliever. You're the Mo Rivera. I appreciate that.
I'm not even wearing my glasses, and I pulled that off.
I couldn't read that at all. Like hieroglyphics right now, seeing that. But all right, what does that mean? That's a dig at the governor, right? I mean, this is saying the guy wore me out. Come on, right?
No, I can tell you this. When Malloy brought up Malloy himself said that I work people pretty hard, and at that very moment I was looking at Bannon, who burst out into a very big smile. Bannon was off stage, way off, outside the view of the cameras. I happened to be looking at Bannon at that very moment. He burst into a big smile.
But can he work folks too hard? Let's talk about the deputy, Alvin Wilson. Any dealings with him? He was next in line?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, Alvin Wilson was more of a behind-the-scenes guy.
Yeah.
He used to work at UConn with Scott Brohinsky. More of a behind-the-scenes guy who was not the public face of the administration.
How about Colleen Flanagan, 29 years old? She's heading off to UConn for a different job. Not UConn, but to the state college system.
Higher ed system.
What was your impressions of her?
Well, I mean, she's worked for the Senate Democrats. She worked for Senator Chris Dodd. She worked on the transition team with Malloy. She's smart. She's young. She's talented. She's fiery. I mean, and the Malloy administration has been known to kind of shoot from the hip every now and then.
Speaking of that, how about Roy Oquia-Grossa, senior advisor? Here's a guy who shoots from the hip. He's been with Malloy from the beginning. If he's a hard-charging guy, we all know Roy. What's the status of Roy Oquia-Grossa right now?
Depends who you talk to.
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you guys.
Depends who you talk to.
What does that mean, Keating?
Some people say he won't be there very long. Others say that he will. Depends who you talk to.
I mean, there were rumors earlier this year that he was looking for another job. So
it would no shock to you if Roy Oquia-Grossa left. It would not stun you at all.
Not me.
No.
Bring him on.
Interesting.
Bring him on. Ask him.
That'd be a full. We may bring him on.
Bring him on. I'll be here.
30 seconds. CLMP. We can't leave how the show drops Thursday. We air Saturday. CLMP and the crisis. How has Malloy handled this? And what's the future of Jeff Butler, the beleaguered CEO of CLMP? Has had a tough week.
He has had a tough week, and I am praying by the time that this airs, I have my power back.
That's right, because you're out, Keating's out. I have my power, guys. Both of you guys are out, right?
Yeah.
Hotel for you, for you, I think, or living somewhere else. So.
No, living as a refugee.
What's the question? As journalists now, because you're hands-on, as journalists with power, with the power being out, does it add a little bit more frost to your fire? Are we asking questions when you're part of the story now?
That's interesting. I think that, we have been, tough on CLMP, but we have been tough on CLP since Hurricane Irene, and I never lost power during Hurricane Irene. So, we have held their feet to the fire and asked some hard questions, I think.
Now, press conference this week with Dan Malloy. Chris Keating asked the question, Governor, what have we learned from this? I wasn't really sure what the answer was. Keating, what was his answer? When you asked the question,
well, the answer, learned? I think the shelters are better. I mean, you can go to the Simsbury shelter and get married. You can get swordfish there. The shelters are much, much better than it was last time.
Is the swordfish
I think that's,
rare,
that's
medium
basically
rare?
The difference.
Is the swordfish well done, medium rare?
Well, you got to get the brisket of beef. If Metro Beef is doing the cooking, it's usually pretty good.
Because Christine made to go over there with her husband for a little dinner.
I'm going to switch shelters.
All right, we're going to come back, talk more about CLMP, what the future is for that, and we'll talk about the controversy surrounding Republican presidential hopeful Herman Cain, and if it will lead to his undoing. Catch the show at ctnow.com/fan. Friend us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Don't go away.